Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Card Bar Hobby Chats. Tonight's episode is episode number 6. It's been about 2 weeks since my last one, and just been kind of, getting ready to get back at it and get a new one out for you guys. I hope you enjoy kind of the series that I'm putting out for you. I've had a great time and getting collectors in the hobby to share, just some stories, some memories, cards, and just have some good hobby talk. And so tonight's guest, I'm excited to have him on. He is a great hobby friend of mine, and I think you guys will really enjoy what he has to offer you guys, and the cards that he'll share with us. And he's got a lot of great memories and stories, and just describing his journey. And so really looking forward to bringing him on tonight. His name is Matt. He goes by Royals 417 on X. And he also has YouTube. I don't know if he's created any content, but I do know that he does, comment on some videos and that. So maybe we can eventually get him to see if he will do some content creation and show some of his collection off. Be awesome to have him join. But like I said, I'm looking forward to having tonight's guest on and having him just, explain his journey with us. And so I'll go ahead and bring him in, and we'll go ahead and get started. Matt, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing good, doing good. I'm glad that you're able to hop on with me this evening and just talk cards and, kind of just share your story and your journey and the card collecting that you started. So I'm going to go ahead and have you just kind of briefly introduce yourself to us, and then we'll get started.
Well, I appreciate you, Ryan. Known you for a while now, and connection with your wife, and she used to be a former student of mine, and we lived in the same town, and so glad to get to know you over the course of these few years, and enjoyed our trip to Dallas, like you mentioned a couple times to the big Dallas show. But
yeah, for sure.
I live in Kansas. Grew up in Kansas. Grew up a Royals fan. Have not created any YouTube content, but maybe this will entice me to do so.
There we go. Hopefully we can get you to join in.
But work in education. Education keeps me busy.
Yeah, no, sure.
School administrator. I taught for 16 years. I've been an administrator for 14. This is my, I think, 15th. So
awesome.
Getting up closer to that retirement age. So looking forward to that with everything going on now. But
oh yeah,
I enjoy my job and enjoy being around the kids, and
and
looking forward to the high school baseball season coming on. But
yes.
Huge baseball fan. I'll be honest, don't care for much of the other stuff. Hockey's probably my second favorite, but baseball is my first love, and that is really the only thing I collect is baseball and Royals. And the Royals 417, sometimes I get asked, well, what's that mean? Well, if you go to section 417 at a Royals game, you will probably find me. So,
awesome. Very cool.
We do have season tickets. That's the section we set in, and great seats, great view of everything. And pretty much my wife and I from this point till September are going to be baseball fanatics. So
awesome. That's great to hear. Awesome. Very good to hear. And like I said, I know that you're a big Royals fan. And I was just, like I said, when I started this series, I wanted to get you on because I know what type of collection you have. And, and obviously, we collect similar, we both like the Royals and that. And so it's just, in a way, it's very like-minded, our collections. We like the same type of stuff. And so it's really easy for us to, talk. And I sure appreciate that. And I appreciate your friendship. So.
Nope. It's nice to have other Royals fans to
talk
to. One of these days, I'm going to try to get hold of Jay Hawker cards.
Yeah.
I think he just lives up the road from us here.
Yeah.
So, but do enjoy the Royals fans and talking baseball, and
that's right,
talking Royals and collecting and things like that. So glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you on this evening, and we'll just go ahead and get right in, and we'll get started this evening, and just have you share some cards and some stories and some great memories. So When did you first start collecting, Matt?
I started collected in 1980.
Okay.
We started going to Wichita Arrows games. At the time, they were a AAA affiliate of the Expos. And then they were also an affiliate of, I think, the Rangers and then the Reds at some point. But we would often go down to Wichita. We were only about 45 miles from Wichita, and we would go down when the Omaha Royals came to town, so you could see all those players that were going to be the newest Royals here in the next couple months or the next couple years, and so that was fun. And honestly, that's where I bought my first cards, or I should say, probably my parents bought my first cards, because we would go. They would have rack packs available at the little concession stand, and I'd buy those, and then our grocery store started carrying them. And honestly, ever since 1980, with maybe just a couple year exception, I've been collecting ever since. So
Awesome.
it's
Very cool.
fun time. And some people have said, well, when are you going to stop collecting? And honestly, I enjoy it. I probably won't stop. So someday somebody will get all this stuff, but now it's mine. I enjoy it. And so I'm going to keep doing what I love.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm the same way. Like I just, when people ask you like, how long are you going to continue this? I'm like, I'm just going to continue as long as I possibly can. And, I've got 3 children that, I hope to pass this down to them, and let them enjoy it and get them interested in collecting. And, I can't wait for it. So yeah, I definitely agree with the sentiment you shared there. And yeah, us collectors, I think we all, we all want to do it as long as possible. Right. So, and we enjoy it that much. So, but yeah, no doubt. So awesome. So 1980, that's quite the length there. Now that you're, from now that's 2026. So you've been in it a while. For sure.
Yeah, I've
been in it quite a while.
So 1980, I was 7. I started buying packs. For a while, I ran a blog called 26 Cent Summer, and it was because packs of cards were 25 cents, pay a penny sales tax, and I could round that up and go get a pack of cards. And then 81 hit, and the grocery store had Fleer, Donruss, Tops. It was like heaven. And since then, and probably once I got out of college, there was probably about a 2 or 3 year period where I didn't buy anything, but I had moved to Clay Center, where your wife is from, and there was a store out west of town that started getting cards, and that jump started me again. And since then, I've been full bore into it.
There you go. Awesome. Well, you kind of mentioned this next question. What all do you collect? You kind of gave us that.
So I guess I'm probably what you would consider a set collector.
Okay.
I've always been one to, buy the cards, build the sets, even when I started. Probably the first set I really focused on building was 83. And so when I, went back and started making sure I had complete sets, that was my first one. And then 80 and I have a Tops run from 72 to today.
Okay.
I also have the 56 set and the 65 set, and I'm about 80 cards from finish in 71. So kind of what I've done is, some people just pick up a bunch of cards whenever they can. I tend to latch on to one set, and when I pick that set, then it's full bore into that. And right now I'm down to about 80 high numbers to 71. And once I get done with that, then I'll pick the next one. But mainly a set collector. I will say I do collect Royals. I go back and fill my old Royals team sets through a trading card database. Do a lot of trades on there. I just like you, and I think maybe you picked this up after we went to Dallas, but I've been collecting Kansas-born players for quite a while, and so that is a passion of mine to get those players that grew up and not just grew up, but were born in Kansas and played in the majors, and you go back to Walter Johnson and Joe Tinker, and those are the Hall of Famers, but Kansas doesn't have a whole lot, but Sometimes that's a good thing when you're collecting.
Sure.
And you still get a few today, and so
Yeah.
do that. K-State baseball players that made it to the majors. We're both K-State fans, so
Yes.
so baseball, and those players that make it from there, I've collected. Just picked up Jordan Wicks auto
Yeah.
here this weekend.
Cool.
He's currently for the Cubs. But then I got a couple PCs. George Brett was my favorite player growing up. Played third base on Little League all the time. Probably because of that, tried to wear the number 5. Still have my original glove from 81 that was the George Brett 390 average.
Okay. Yeah.
Wilson glove that year. I still have that. Also collect Tony Pena and
Okay.
Darren Dalton. Now, Darren Dalton, of course, he's from Ark City, Kansas, so he fits in the Kansas born. Some
Definitely.
people say, well, how'd you get involved with Tony Pena? Well, in I think it was 1980, I want to say 82, maybe 83. We went on a vacation, my parents and I, and we were fortunate to go to the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. We went to a baseball game in Cincinnati. We decided when we left Canton we were going to go to Pittsburgh, and so we were staying at a hotel outside of Pittsburgh, and Tony Pena happened to be staying there as well. And so the manager brought Tony out when he showed up prior to the game, introduced me out by the pool. I still have that picture of me and him. Went down to the bullpen prior to the game. They were playing the Expos, and he threw me a baseball after that. And so since then, I've been a Tony Pena fan. Of course, he became the manager of the Royals in 2003. Had a really good chance to do some things, and then kind of put away at the end. But
for sure.
I enjoyed collecting him, and I've added a few things over the course of the year: game used bat, some autos, things like that. But
Cool.
Try to keep track of all that on trading card database. I think I'm in the top 5, I think, for Tony Pena cards.
Nice. Very cool. So, yeah, that's really neat. That's really neat that you picked a player to that has some some meaning to you, some nostalgia. You have that meaning, and that's really cool, I think.
So he was probably the first player that I ever got to actually just meet.
Yeah,
not going to a game and getting an autograph and then going to the next person, but actually the first player that I got to sit down and have a little conversation with. Granted, I was 10 at the time, but that created an impression, and so I've been a fan of his ever since. And then my last thing I probably collect is, and you're aware of that, I have a complete collection of Royals bobbleheads from all the stadium giveaways, and so everything from the slugger that they gave away only to kids to everything from the last year. I have at least one, and most of them I have 2 bobbleheads of everything they've given out. So
awesome. Yeah, I know you have quite the impressive collection of those for sure. So it's and I remember the time I came down and was able to check out your card area and all that. I was quite in awe of all of it. So
it's changed quite a bit since then.
Has it? Okay. All right.
I still have tubs of stuff everywhere, but I've kind of got everything organized and all the bobbleheads out and on display. And
awesome.
So it's kind of a constant state of rearranging things and getting stuff out to showcase and things like that. So trying to get more and more stuff out there so you can see it and can see it and appreciate it more than
it lets you be able to enjoy your collection. That's kind of what I've been able to do. I have I try to get as much out as I can. This year I want to be a little more organized and getting stuff, the stuff that I want to keep, making sure that I have easy access to that, and the stuff that I want to move on from, trying to get that, moved on from and out because you can only store so much, and we all run into, where are we going to put stuff, and wall space and, space for binders or boxes or all sorts of, we all run into that question, like, how are we going to store it? And so, yeah, it's something that, as collectors, we always have to, kind of be cognizant about, how we're going to store it. And so, yeah, for sure.
That's the thing is I've ran out of space, and so I'm trying to go through now, and I
Yeah.
have I have a bunch of bobbleheads I would love to sell and
Yeah.
move on to somebody else, and
Mhm.
just going through some Royals cards, realizing, I probably don't need 287 George Brett cards, and trying
I
to
mean,
figure
however, that is a great card. So, I mean,
I have
I'll go
not
ahead and share that one right there. And this
I
one's an
have not,
autoed version. So,
the ironic thing is I cannot stand the wood border cards. I
yeah,
know you love that, but
I do. I do.
uh,
Yes.
it's just one of those things that I've tried to go through. I can't because of Brett. I don't think I can ever get rid of those, but some of
Yeah.
the other Royal stuff I've sorted through and got some boxes of things to get rid of. So
Yeah.
just gotta find the right person that
Sure.
wants that.
Yeah, and that's what it really comes down to. Some of those cards are hard to get rid of, as we know. A lot of people have a hard time wanting to those junk wax era cards. The one, especially if they're not interested in the player or the team. They're it's hard to move on and get someone interested to take those. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so no, I love 87 tops. I think I love 87 because I was born in 87. But I do love the design. I just love that wood grain border. And so it's just, there's always something, I think there's a little bit of something to it. The year that you're born, you're kind of
Mhm.
inclined to wanting to, enjoy that. At least I think so. I enjoy it. So, but
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm partial to the 73 set when I
yeah,
started going back and doing some of what I would consider the vintage
yeah.
sets, and that's pretty much anything before 80 is what I would
Mhm.
consider it. I went back and did 75 first because that's Brett's rookie, but then I did 73 shortly after that. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
73 I'm partial to just because that was my birth year. So
Yeah, sure. Sure. No, definitely. So, I think I know the answer to this next one. Do you have a favorite set or card design? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one, but I'll let you give
So
us the answer.
what's the answer?
I'm going to say 56 tops would be
Well,
would
you
we'll see if I'm
are
right.
I've actually listed 6 of these here.
Okay.
I have a top 6, and
Okay.
it's my number 2, and
Oh,
it has been my number 1 at various times, but the more I go back to it, the more I go back to 1980, the pennant design, the first
mm,
year I started collecting, um, and that's just, right now it's 1980, but
okay.
56 is right behind there, and you were with me when I finished my 56 set, and that was an exciting weekend, and
It sure was. Yeah.
I was able to pick up quite a few that weekend. I got the
Yeah.
56 Ted Williams, and I was down to that Jackie Robinson, and finally that Sunday morning is
Hmm.
I was able to get that one and
Yeah.
put that set to bed. So I have those. We went back a couple years later, and I took some of those big ones in 56 down and sent them off to SGC and got those graded. So I have those back, and I'm glad I did that just to kind of protect them. But
Sure. Sure.
75 was a big set, and I think it's just because it's so colorful, and of
Hmm.
course that's Brett's rookie year. And
Yeah.
I will say that the one set I think from the 80s that's underrated is 83.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
83 set, especially with I love the fact that they put the close-up picture
Yeah.
on
Agreed.
along with the action shot, and then some other sets. 72 was fun, although that was a hard one to put together, and
Yeah. I imagine.
probably I made it difficult because 72 I really tried to put together a pretty good condition set,
Hmm.
and then 65, which was I've completed that one too, and again,
Yeah.
going back to those pennant designs, and
Yeah.
love that, but right now 80 and 56 are neck and neck there, so
Awesome.
I'll give you that one. You at least had pinpointed that one now.
Well, yeah, yeah, and I think sometimes what we enjoy it can change from day to day or year to year because I've kind of during my hobby journey there has been some sets that I didn't quite like at the beginning. I've kind of grown more fond of as I've gotten a little older, and I don't know, mainly going down the vintage route. And there was, like I said, there were a few that I didn't typically care for, and then I kind of changed my mind on a few of them. So yeah, I think we all kind of have that where on any given day or that you can change your mind on what you're liking or that. So, but yeah, no, that was a fun trip when we went down there and you finished that off. That was definitely a great time. So
it was. So
yeah, definitely a great memory that I will always remember for sure. Just
yeah,
being
that was a
along
fun
and
trip with the three of us going down there, and that was my first Dallas card show, and I think we've hit the November one every year since then, except for 1 year. So it's been a fun trip. We look forward to that, and this year we were even able to hit a hockey game in the process. So.
Awesome, very cool. Yeah, it's always good when you can add and do multiple stuff while you're there.
Yeah,
kind of adds onto the trip while you're at the show. So yeah, for sure. So well, what is your ultimate grail card now? I mean, I think we all kind of have different definitions of grail. Some can be, it can be an inexpensive card, or it can be the most expensive card. If money wasn't an option, I guess, what would be your ultimate grail card you'd love to add?
Well, if money wasn't an option, I would already have it. And you already have the one I'm thinking of. And I'm a little jealous because I'm still missing the 75 O-Pee-Chee Brett. And so that is one that I'm kind of at that point where could I go buy it? Yes, I could go buy it, but I'm kind of picky about it.
Sure.
And I keep looking at eBay, and I will say this: I went to Dallas 2 years ago with the idea that I was going to buy a 76 O-Pee-Chee, and I did not see one.
Yeah.
There was a guy that tried to sell me a 70 or a 75 O-Pee-Chee. He tried to sell me that. And when I looked at it, unfortunately, it was not an O-Pee-Chee. He was trying to sell it as that, but it was the tops. And he wouldn't believe me when I called him out on it. So anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
So that's one that I could get, but I'm pretty picky. I'm looking for the nicely centered one and one that I can appreciate. But I will say if money was absolutely no option, and I'm going to go to a Kansas born player, and I'm going to one that's from Clay Center, Kansas. So FloJo Doyle.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about that is he's kind of got two cards. That is probably his error card is the most, how do I want to put it, scarce T206 card. Currently, I think there's only like 10 or 12 of them known to exist, and the air is that he's listed as a New York as the team, but it says instead of American, it says national, and so that's the air. And kind of the fun thing is they really didn't even know there was an air until early 70s, and then as a couple guys were going through, found some of that, and the last one I could see that sold was about, I think, 1.4 million.
Wow.
So if money was no object, that would find its way to my collection. Just because he's a Kansas born player, and where I lived for quite a while.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. And that would be my ultimate grail. If I could go get one card today, that would be the one I'd shoot for. So
awesome. Sounds great. That's awesome. I would give you a little backstory on my O-Pee-Chee. I bought it off of eBay back in 2021. I wanted, because my parents were asking me about, kind of when I got it, and so I kind of had to go back and search, my purchase history, and found it, and I bought it in 2021, and I bought it from a Canadian seller, and I think I paid $65 for it, US dollars, which it's got some issues, but at the time I was just wanting to check it off. I mean, I wasn't too picky, I just wanted to own the card. And I think, seems to me that they're getting harder to find, I think.
Yeah.
Like you don't see them near as much.
You don't see them very often. There is a guy in Topeka that has one for sale.
Okay.
That it's really more than I want to spend on it. Chris and I, my wife, we've we went up to Winnipeg, up to Lake Winnipeg for vacation about 3 or 4 times here in the recent, 7-8 years, and
Mhm.
and so try to hit some card shops up there in Winnipeg itself. But ones I did, I got quite a few O-Pee-Chee cards out of one of them, O-Pee-Chee Brett's, but he didn't have a 75. So I'll continue to go up to there and maybe someday get to the big show in Toronto.
Yeah.
I think that might be fun to just go up there and
Sure.
get it, but get it in Canada.
It would, yeah, that would be very cool to get it up there. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
definitely.
someday maybe that's where I'll find it, but unless I quit being real picky, I'm probably going to hold off until I find one that I want.
Well, I'm sure I know you're going to add one to your collection because I know, like I said, I know how much you love collecting Brett and that. So it's only a matter of time and you'll have one in your collection. So yeah, for sure. So, what is a favorite hobby memory of yours? It could be from, when you first started collecting to where you're at now.
There was a few things that I thought about answering this with, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna turn around here and grab a card.
All right.
And it's not actually a couple cards, and it's not the one that's autographed, but so my wife Chris, she actually grew up collecting cards.
Awesome.
I had baseball cards, and so she loves baseball, which makes our summers that much more fun because we go to the Royals games together and have a great time. So she was able to meet as season ticket holders. We get to go to like the photo day is what they used to call it anyway, or fan fests and things like that. So one year, after a couple years of photo days, her favorite coach was Rusty Kuntz. And we saw him at, I think we talked to him once at Nebraska Furniture Mart and then a few other than Fan Fest. And then, so one year for Christmas, I bought her, I made some Topps cards.
Okay.
Ordered these through Topps, and they were pictures from Fan Fest.
Very cool.
Day. And so we got into the line at the old Fan Fest, and it used to be you just get in line and you didn't know whose autograph you were going to get. They'd run 2 or 3 people out there, and then the one day she got in the line, and we had kind of an in with one of our ushers, and so she was able to kind of tell us who was going to be in what line. And so one day, I think she gave us a heads up that the coaches were going to be in this one. So Chris got in the front of that line, and she put that card out on the table, and they had a great conversation, and that was just fun to see that. And,
yeah, for sure.
And so when you can share kind of collecting memories with family, and in this case, my wife, that was fun, and probably my favorite hobby memory at this point, just in the recent time, was being able to get those cards for her and then have those signed by him at Fan Fest, and see his reaction to seeing a card that he had never seen before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
It was fun. So
yeah. No, that's a great memory. Yeah, like you say, anytime you can pin it back to a special family event, or like in that instance, we were able to have him see it for the first time. Like he's never seen that, so he probably got great enjoyment just out of seeing that. And so
I don't know if Topps still does that or not.
I don't think they do. I think ever since Fanatics took over, I think they kind of nixed that right away, I think. So
yeah,
which is kind of unfortunate. So
you were able to put whatever you wanted on the back, and so like on one, it's the picture from 2015, and I wrote a little paragraph about that, and then the next one was a picture of 2016, and then you could send those in and choose kind of what year, what style you wanted. So it was fun, and but yeah, unfortunately with Fanatics, a lot of things that Topps
Yeah.
probably did is
Yeah.
for the collector anyway is on, I think. So.
Yeah, that's a whole nother point.
Exactly.
We could go further on that, but that we could take a long time talking about all that. So, but no, great memory there. I definitely enjoy hearing you tell us that. That's awesome, Matt. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Um, what is one card from your collection that you would never sell?
You want
I
to
think
guess
we,
this one?
yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, that you're for sure. I certainly could see that. Yeah. So
That's the
let's
one
see.
I hunted and hunted.
Yes, there we go. That's awesome.
So
That's great.
that's that last one of the 56 set, and
Fantastic card.
sent it off
Fantastic.
years later to get it graded, and was surprised it came back a 4. But
Yeah.
I think that's one card that even I would even sell my Brett rookies before I sold. Sold
that's
Jackie. I'd sell my Jordan rookie before I sold that Jackie. So
yeah. Well,
that's
it means a lot. It means a lot for you. You know, that was the one of the top ones that you were wanting to add to that to finish that off. And so just that factor of, completing that, and we're all, when we complete something, it makes us feel good. And so I could, it was fun that I was able to celebrate that when you were able to pick that up. And so like I just enjoyed being able to be there with you when you added that. So just
it's always fun to see people get cards in their collection that you appreciate, but they appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's
exactly.
like when you got that O-Pee-Chee Brett, you could tell that you were happy about that, and I was happy for you.
Yeah.
And so just anymore, you see those cards that people get that complete a set or finish a run of something, and then you just it's nice to see, and you're glad for them. And
yeah, for sure. When we can celebrate, picking up cards and celebrating with friends, that's what it's about, really. I've said this before on episodes in the past, that cards bring us together, but when we're able to like share, those memories, and when we were in Dallas, when you picked that up, it was just a lot of fun. And I just know I know how you wanted to get that completed when we went down there. And so just awesome. But it was the same, feeling when I got that 54 Aaron. It was the same, that was the last base card that I needed for Hank Aaron, and I saved, the best for last. Right. So
I think it was that next year when I went to Dallas, you had sent me, you told me what you wanted, and I was taking pictures of those that I find, and I was glad you were able to get that, because I knew that completed your run. And
Aaron, for sure.
Aaron was your guy, and
when
we went down, we picked up a couple Aarons then. And so it was good to see that 54 out of your way and in your collection, and that was fun. So
definitely. Now looking back on it, I think I ended up, when we went to Dallas, I ended up buying the 55 Bowman, the 55 Topps, and the 56 Topps. Those were my bigger cards, the bigger 3 that I purchased when we were there. Looking back, I wish I would have just probably not bought those, and probably just bought the 54 Aaron.
Yeah.
Because I would have saved money at that time, so, but I didn't know. Looking back on it, his prices kind of jumped after he passed. So that rookie card, even in authentic and ones, that about where I was looking at, I mean, they jumped up pretty good. So
looking back, I could have, bought a lot of vintage cards in the 80s when I was collecting, and putting money toward that rather than putting money toward a lot of other stuff. So, but that's, you can't do that. You can't change. So I just appreciate what cards I bought then, and appreciate what cards we're able to buy now.
Exactly.
You didn't get that 54 at that trip. That 54 was another good memory for you later on. So
exactly right. Exactly right. So, all right. Do you have any current hobby projects that you're working on? You probably have some sets that you're wanting to finish. But
So I am working on 71 right now.
okay,
I think I'm down to, I want to say 88 or 89 cards. Most of them are going to be high number cards, but I am still looking for the Ryan, the Aaron, the Maze.
okay,
So those are probably the three biggest ones, and then the rest are just high numbers. But
yeah,
I'll eventually get that done. I'm just when I was doing my 72 set, I ran into a couple dealers at shows around here that had a lot of the high numbers, and so I was able to finish the 72 high numbers. It took me a while, but once one of those dealers bought a collection, it went pretty quickly. And so I've kind of went through both of their 71s, and
mhm.
and they're just hard to find. And
Oh
so
yeah,
every
yeah,
once in a while you browse eBay and maybe pick
yeah,
up one or two here and there. But unfortunately you go to card shows and you might not even see a high number 71,
sure,
um, especially if it's not a star.
yeah,
So the commons, a lot of people tend to not bring. So that's kind of why the national is a big thing, and because people do tend to bring some
hmm,
of those cards out for shows like that,
yeah,
and probably I'm assuming that like Philly and Strongsville are kind of the same way. So hopefully
yeah,
someday I can get there.
yeah,
But anyway, that's the once I started doing some of the vintage sets, that was always kind of the hard part, is you get those low numbered cards pretty easily. Then you get to the high numbers and it's much more
yeah.
difficult.
Oh
So,
yeah, for
uh,
sure, for sure. You're probably pretty picky with that set, aren't you? With the
well,
borders,
I will be
or
honest.
how are you kind of
Well,
doing that?
because of the borders, I decided I wasn't going to be picky.
Okay,
So, like my 72, I was pretty picky, and my 65, I was extremely picky. My
yeah,
65 set is probably the best condition set that I have. So when I was down at Dallas in November, a guy that I bought some stuff previously from, he had a 71 box, kind of a starter set that I purchased fairly cheap.
hmm,
Um, I've replaced a lot of those cards, but just because of the borders and trying to get that, it's just hard to
oh
find
yeah,
those
yeah,
black colored cards. So um, not extremely picky. The
okay,
goal when I do that, it's pretty much I don't want a huge crease in it. I don't want writing on it. One of the 56 cards, speaking of writing, and I'll show it if that's okay.
yeah. Go
Um,
for it.
but I bought this 56 Killebrew for $5 one time.
Okay,
Didn't think much about it. I'd at the time I'd buy it, throw it in the box, check it off my list, and then when I'm
hmm,
going back and putting them in the thing, I realized that the Killebrew had somebody had written second base on the front of it because
uh-huh,
it just says infield. So
hmm, yeah.
actually, this weekend I was able to
Oh, awesome.
replace the card and get one that does not have any writing on it. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things that I also enjoy doing, is going through and kind of upgrading when I can
Oh
for
yeah.
sets that I've completed. So I'm sure, like this 71 set, once I get it done, it may be going back through and seeing what cards I would rather have
Yeah.
a better condition one, and just start going through and trying to find those. But right now I'm not too picky on that condition. So after 72 and 65, I was like, I just need a break from from being real picky on that
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
71 is not going to be the condition I would love to have, but
Sure. Yeah.
it's the condition that I'm getting, and I'll enjoy that for what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So what's your main criteria on a vintage card? What do you like? Corners? Do you like, just the image quality? What are you looking at on vintage cards? What's your
so
main thing that you look at?
so like I had mentioned, I really don't care for cards that have been written on.
Okay.
I can deal with a crease. I can deal with a corner.
Okay.
Um, and this tends to be a YouTube hobby topic here recently, but honestly, I like cards that are centered. I will go for a centered card before I go for a non-centered card that's got four good corners on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I just like, I like to be able to just look at it and say, hey, that looks sharp.
Yeah.
And to me, a card that looks sharp is one that is fairly centered. So I'm okay with a few corner dings. That's not an issue for me.
Mhm.
But do appreciate the centering on cards, and some of those sets are hard.
Sure.
So like I
Oh
put my
yeah.
73 set together. That was hard to
Oh
find.
yeah. I bet. I
Yeah.
bet.
And even
Yeah.
71 is somewhat tough in
Yeah.
that regard. So, but
I always think of 75s, and I always think of how off center they are, especially the colored borders. You can man, it's easy to tell on those. So
trying to find a 75 centered Brett is kind of a neat one.
difficult. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But that's the fun part of the chase is
It
trying to
is. Yeah. Yeah.
those
And
cards
being
that
able.
you want and you want to upgrade and
Yeah.
things of that nature. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and
For
probably
sure.
the other hobby project, and again, it's kind of an ongoing project. Just as Kansas-born players, I'm always looking for those. And
Okay. Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to always see the call-ups coming in and
Hmm.
that. And I usually don't buy cards that are of Kansas-born players that haven't been in the majors.
Okay.
I did make an exception to this and got a Dylan Dreiling autograph
Oh,
card this
nice.
weekend.
Yeah.
He played it. He was from Hayes, played
Hayes, yep.
C 24 College World Series MVP.
Yep.
So I couldn't pass that deal up when I was buying some other cards from a dealer, and so I just enjoy watching. And I pay attention to high school baseball, and
Sure.
you coach for a long time, and it's good to see kids that come up through the ranks, and I, whether it be through just watching baseball or I umpired high school baseball for a long time. Probably the most famous person that I was able to umpire was a regional final, Chase County and Canton Galva.
Okay.
And Ryan Kohlmeyer, who's I think a dentist in Emporia, met him a couple years ago. He ended up being a closer for the Orioles, and he threw a 5-inning no-hitter. Basically, it was 15 up, 15 down, but there was an error that got erased with a double play. But that was a fun game to be behind the plate. I think I want to say he had 12 strikeouts that game. So
wow. Cool.
It was fun, and to see players like that, and it's good to see those players that you were able to umpire go on up into the professional ranks, and even players that you played against when you were in high school and things like that. So I had one that I played with that ended up playing in the minor leagues, and actually got to visit with him when he was playing up for the Lincoln Salt Dogs.
Okay.
1 year. So
cool.
That was fun, but
cool.
Just enjoy baseball all around, and Kansas baseball and those kids
for sure.
Them. So anyway, that's always a current project, and
awesome.
Trying to find cards from them, and so there's about 5 current Kansas players in the majors right now, I think. So looking forward to the next one.
Sure, definitely. I'll kind of give you my story. When I was at Cloud County playing baseball, I played with Jake Dietman. So you probably know Jake. You've heard of him pitching he pitched a little bit for the Royals, but he started out with the Phillies and we'd have Philly scouts there all the time at practice. And so they were pretty high on him, and they were right when they were able to draft him, they picked him up. So, but it was fun being able to play with him when I was at Cloud. So definitely something that I will always remember. Just a great guy too. Like we got along so well, and that. And so it's like you said, when you're able to see or talk to people that, have ended up making it, in the minors, majors, all that, it's something special when you're able to say, hey, I played with this guy, and that's something I always remember. Just, being able to have that, and just the great memory of that, and then enjoy watching him pitch. I remember when he played for the Royals, the Authentic store was selling his spring training jerseys, so I picked up one of his spring training jerseys just because I was like, it's like, man, this is a cool piece, and I'm a Royals fan, and I know him, and we were, pretty good friends, and so just a cool piece to have in my collection. So
like I'm in our league that I'm in now includes Osage City. So Blake Trinan,
exactly.
He grew up in Osage City, and they have a display over there. So it's fun to keep track of those players.
Sure, definitely is. Yeah,
just any college baseball is fun to watch. Besides the majors and that, college is I follow K-State baseball and watch them when I can. And Wayne and I, the guy that we went to Dallas with, we go up to the College World Series every year for a couple games, and we've been doing that for probably 7 or 8 years now, if not longer. So that's always a fun trip to go up there and see that environment. And I got to say that I'm kind of tuned out to almost every college sport now, except for baseball.
Yeah.
If you're a State fan, you probably understand a little bit about why, but with NIL and portals and this and that, it's hard to become a fan. When players change so often.
Well, to not get too far off, our hobby topic. Yeah, I think the NCAA's got to make some adjustments with the NIL. They have to tighten it back, because if they don't, they're going to run into some big issues, I think, with college athletics if they don't make some changes. They've got to definitely rein it in, because it's out of control, in my opinion. So, So, well, we'll go ahead, and the last question I have for you before we get to the rapid fires here. What is one thing that you currently enjoy about this hobby? I mean, there's a lot of, craziness right now with how the current hobby scope is. What's something that you enjoy about this current hobby, I guess?
Well, I'll say one thing. I think people have to divide the hobby from the industry. If you're going to enjoy it, I think you have to do that.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of the industry whatsoever. A fan of the hobby, absolutely. The fan of the kind of the reemergence of the hobby. And even though that has come with a lot of the negatives since 2020 and things like that, just the number of people that are back in it, the access we have to cards, the access we have to hobby shops and card shows. You can go back 2017, 2018, 2019, and there weren't too many shops around. I mean, Kansas City had maybe, I want to say 2, 3.
Yeah.
Now there's probably 7 or 8. Card shows. I've been to one the last 2 weekends, and it used to be I might go to one twice a year.
Yeah.
Just around the Kansas City area. So I think that's one of the things that I'm a fan of, is just the access to that. And so it's really fueled my interest in cards again. And even though there's a lot of negatives there, it's kind of like the news. I don't pay much attention to it. It's not even though I was a former government teacher, it's all negative, and I really don't care to listen to it. Just like the hobby negative, the pieces of that, the industry that are negative, don't really pay much attention to that. But if somebody has a card YouTube channel and it's vintage and it's just about collecting, I'm probably watching it. So
same here. I agree.
Just the access to the videos, from YouTube, the shows, the access to cards, it's there if you want to partake in it. You can enjoy it regardless of the other stuff involved with it.
Yeah. And like, as you said, we both collect vintage and pre-war and that, so we don't have to necessarily partake in the current landscape of it. We can go back and we can, we can get into junk wax if we want to, if we get interested in that, or vintage or pre-war, we can always find something to collect. We
Oh,
don't have to, I guess what I would add to that is we don't have to join in with what the industry is trying to get out there right now. And they're trying to, they're trying to push, breaking and all the different, a lot of different stuff that I think is kind of negative towards the youth in this. Just my opinion of it. I don't think breaking is great for younger kids. And I look at it as, like when you were younger and I was younger, the hobby was entirely different than it is now. Just looking at that. And so I don't know if that's necessarily healthy for those kids. I mean, I guess they're interested, but are they going to be interested in the long term of it when they are 40, 50, 60 years old? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, or are they in it for, the monetary aspect of it, the financial flipping of it? That's.
And unfortunately, I see a lot of both. I see, at the Lawrence Card Show this weekend,
Yeah.
there was a ton of kids there, which is great.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, there's a ton of kids carrying around more cash than I'm carrying around, and
Exactly.
if they or their parents want to spend that money, that's fine. But I just can't help but think, are they really enjoying the hobby?
Yeah. Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, and one thing, I'm not collecting TCG, I'm not collecting Pokemon, I'm not collecting any of that. If that's at a card show, I don't have a problem with it,
No.
because that's what a lot of those kids are interested in. And
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy that I know, and he had his 2 kids, and he collects cards, but his kids were collecting Pokemon, and he said something about that, and I said, eventually, they'll see what you're doing and want to collect baseball. It may just
Sure.
take a while. So get them enjoying collecting, the Pokemon cards, and go from there. So
Yeah, no, I agree totally with that. As long as they enjoy that, if they enjoy collecting Pokemon or all that stuff, that's, in the way it's the same as, how we collect what we like, and I think you're right. I think it will lead them into, getting the urge or getting into maybe, hey, what's, collecting sports cards all about? And at least that's, hopefully the goal. Hopefully we can have the youth, when they get to be, older, in their adult, hood, that they can continue this on, I'm 39. I just turned 39 last Thursday. And so I look at myself as, really young in this collecting grand scheme of it all. And so I'm kind of, I feel like, I'm, collect modern stuff, but I feel like I also want to, the further back I go, the cooler that I think that stuff is too, because, I enjoy the history of that and wanting to own, a T205 or T206 or something from, over 100 years ago. So,
the history of it, the fact that, you see a card you've never seen before, you can find the information about that set. You can look up the history. Where was it distributed? Things like that. Lawrence, the other day, while we're here, I'll find the other one I was going to show you.
Awesome.
Not a big deal, but little Walter Johnson there.
Nice. Very cool.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. Guy didn't know what it was from. So
yeah, very cool.
Opened up trading card database, and eventually is a Callahan Hall of Fame.
1950s, right?
Yep.
Is it 50? Yeah, that's right.
They sold them, and there's like an 82 cards, and they sold them at the Hall of Fame and sold them at parks. And each year through 56, they would just add the new members of the Hall of Fame. So
very cool.
I'd never seen one before, and picked that one up, and we'll add that to my Kansas collection. And
definitely.
Got back home and was able to look up, okay, what is the Callahan Hall of Fame, and how was it distributed, where it went, was it there? That's the part of the hobby that I like, is just learning about the new, not the new, but the cards that I've never seen, and
for sure,
collecting things. And so, like, even though I may not be collecting them from a set, I might try to pick up a card from that set, and I know you do the same, just to have that kind of that variation or that something from that set. So
yeah, I know you're exactly right. That's how I'm attacking. That's how I'm attacking pre-war right now. Is I'm just picking out a different set that I do not have, and sure, would I like to have Hall of Famers? Yes, but I don't have the budget to get in some of them pre-war sets. I don't have the budget to get that. So if I'm able to find like a Kansas-born player, insert some of those pre-war sets, yeah, I'll save some money there just by buying, a Beals Becker or that, So
actually got my
just
Bills Becker at Dallas this year. So
yes, yeah.
but it's,
So I thought
that's the thing, and that's one of those things I've thought about, collecting Royals, but that only takes me back to 69.
Yeah.
I've completed the Topps Kansas City A's run, so there's 55 to 67.
Yeah, those are cool.
Just going through and thinking, okay, what other team could I collect? And Kansas City has a history of teams, and you go back to the Blues and the Packers and a number of other teams, and T206 has those cards in it, and so those are fun just to pick up. They're not big names, but they're players that have a connection to the area, that have a connection to Kansas City, that have a connection to Kansas, and so
exactly right.
By picking them up. So
for sure. No, like I say, we're so much similar, and I don't know, maybe I kind of got that off of you to collect the Kansas-born players, but I enjoy it. I enjoy picking up guys that have even I think the last Kansas-born player I picked up was a Xena card. It was a guy, Buddy Ryan. I found out he was born in Plainville, Kansas, and so and I think it's a 1931 Xena of him as a manager, one of the PCL teams. But
one of the cards I've been looking for is a Xena Lou McAvoy.
Yeah. Okay.
Our little school district has a couple towns in it. He's from one of those towns, and so I'm trying to collect him, and that's kind of a common card that he has, and he doesn't have very many, but trying to find with the old Pacific Coast League and
for sure.
So that's the fun part again.
It is. Like you said, you learn from it because you have to go back and you have to learn from the set. You have to learn if the players from Kansas. So it makes you kind of do some digging and some research on that. And no, I agree. It's just a lot of fun being able to go back and just kind of understand, some of those different pre-war sets and players in it. So, so awesome. Sounds great, Matt. Well, we'll go ahead and get into some quick rapid fires here, and then we'll end for the evening. What do you prefer, pre-war or golden era, like 50s, 60s baseball?
Well, being a set collector and knowing that I'm not going to collect sets from pre-war, I'm going to say golden era.
Okay.
I just love the different set designs, love the color images, and just some of those old time photos. And so I just enjoy that era.
Yeah. Sounds good. If you could pick these two iconic cards, which would it be, the T206 Wagner or the 52 Topps Mantle?
Wagner.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the Mantle's overrated.
I do too.
I'll take a 51 Mantle.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's a lot cheaper. Exactly. So for sure, give me the 51 Bowman. Yeah, I agree. Junk wax or ultra modern?
Junk wax. Well, I love the look and the design and the new things that modern cards do.
Yeah,
there's just something about junk wax and going back and putting those Royal sets together from the 500 different sets that came out in 1987 and things like that. So I enjoy that. Still do.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this one. I'm going to kind of take it back to old school, new school. We'll see what you say, but I think I know your answer to this. George Brett or Bobby Witt Jr.?
Well, I'm going to go with Brett. Collect him since I grew up. That was the one person I wanted to be, and I appreciate Bobby Witt for everything he brings to the table, and enjoy watching him all season long. But I'll stick with Brett and from the heyday. So
Yeah. Let's do some quick thinking here. Do you think Bobby Witt Jr. can put up any close to the numbers that George Brett put up? What do you think on the projection of Bobby Witt Jr.'s career? What do you think here?
I think he will, if he stays healthy, he'll surpass.
You think he'll suppress Brett? Okay.
I think he has the ability to be more consistent.
Okay.
Now, Brett was pretty consistent, but I think he also brings that power aspect that Brett had some power years occasionally, but I think Witt will be more consistent there.
Yeah.
Speed, of course,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think he will have the ability to surpass Brett as the greatest Royal in history. I just hope that when his time comes that he will continue to be a Royal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope we can keep him for sure. Yeah, because I think he's got a fantastic future ahead of him. So as long as he can stay healthy, and which I think he's, so far he's had a pretty good history, not getting hurt, and I think if he can stay on the field, I think he can definitely. I think he'll put up some good numbers by the time it's all said and done. I think he'll be right up there. So for sure. All right, last one. We're on a kind of a cards channel, but I know you're true. I do know your love for bobbleheads. So, cards or bobbleheads?
Cards, definitely.
Cards. Oh yeah.
So bobbleheads, like I said, I will go to every stadium giveaway bobblehead game they have. And I will collect those every year from now until forever. That probably has something to do with the completionist in me. And
sure.
I have a whole set, and if I don't get one, it's going to bug the heck out of me. So
sure.
I will continue to do that, and I will continue to do that as long as I have Royals tickets, and I'll put that plug in for. I hope they do not build a new stadium, but I know they're going to, so it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, cards every day of the week. Bobbleheads, there's it's another crazy collectible hobby, but I'm going to restrict myself to only those that the Royals give out. I don't buy the other stuff unless it's something I just really like. And usually those things are going to be non-Royals stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Well, and it seems like, to me, the Royals are putting more bobbleheads out every year. I think they are. It seems like they're getting, and I think they understand that fans enjoy them and this and that. And it's just harder for me to get to them because, they're putting them during the week. Sometimes they're putting them back to back on a Friday, Saturday night. It's just like, man, it's hard to get.
Well, it's hard when you got 3 kids that you're towing too. And
so that's true.
Trying to travel halfway across the state to do that.
Yeah, we're about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little haul for us. So not to mention, usually when we go, we try to make it a weekend. So if we're going to do that, we're going to stay a couple nights or a night at least, and so you got to figure food, gas, hotel, all that goes into into that as well. So
we first started going to the Royals, it was living 3 hours away. It was okay. We would go a Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just make the whole weekend of it. Now that I live an hour from the stadium, it's we went ahead and bought the season tickets and have had those since really 2012. I think was the All-Star game was the first year we had bought them, and so since then I probably get 40 or 50 games.
Awesome.
Wayne buys the other half of those. Anyway, we sometimes go together, but most of the time it's just Chris and I going, and we enjoy that. So
well, that's great that you guys can you live that close enough, and you guys can go and do that, and you guys enjoy that. It's us having 3 kids, it's definitely made it a challenge. We'll just put it that way to get there. And now we're lucky if we make it to 1 a summer, which it's tough. I'll just put it that way. It's a lot harder when you have kids that you have to, account for and getting it. Like I say, when we try to make it a weekend out of it. So that, only adds to it. So, but yeah. Well, Matt, we went a little over an hour. So, man, great
It was a
talk.
good time.
Yeah, wow, it
Thanks
made the hour
for,
went fast. So,
thanks for inviting me. It was
yeah,
fun.
yeah, sure. Sure,
So
I was glad to have you on, and like I said, when I decided to want to do something a little different on my card channel, you can only do pickup videos so much and this and that, and I do want to I think I am going to start doing a little more player spotlight stuff in my collection and just kind of change have a little bit of variety of what I put out. But when I come up with this series, I instantly thought of you because I know what type of collection you have, and and I know you have some fantastic stuff, and so I just wanted to have you just come on and kind of showcase a little bit about your journey, and I'm just excited to have you on this evening, and I want to thank you, and like I say, I appreciate your friendship and appreciate the time that you were able to provide this evening. So, but
I appreciate you
so,
asking. It's always fun to get on and talk cards, and
yeah, for sure, for sure.
maybe sometime in the future I'll actually get a YouTube channel going.
Well,
It's created. There just isn't any videos. So
yeah. Well, you know what? We do need more Kansas collectors. So if we could add you and Jayhawk, we got Jayhawker and I'm now on here, and so we just need to get a few more Kansas. Get some Royals fans to kind of outnumber those Cardinal fans. So
we can outnumber them any day of the week. So
so yeah. But Matt, like I said, I just enjoy you. I just enjoy our lightness on how we collect because, like I said, I think we're very similar. Obviously we like Kansas City Royals, and so that's a big passion of ours in our collecting style. And we like the vintage stuff. We like the pre-war stuff. And so it's just a good like-minded, we share that common interest. And like I said, when you're able to share that with, friends in this hobby, it makes it even better. Yeah. And, like I said before, the cards bring us together, but it's really the people that make this hobby what it is. And so,
I agree. That's the number one reason that I kind of stay into it is just the people that you meet and
for sure
you make and
for sure
camaraderie of collecting the same thing. And and like you said, we are very similar in collecting styles, and I appreciate your videos and what you put out. It's always a joy to see what you're getting in, and so great job on the channel. And
thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I started in this last August, and it's been just a blast. I've just been enjoying it, and I can only talk to my wife so much about cards, and she shows a little bit of interest, but then after a little while she's like, all right, enough's enough. And so I was always one of those that I would comment. I'd watch a lot of hobby stuff and comment or this and that, or sometimes I wouldn't even comment. I would just watch and just enjoy it. But kind of got the urge from a couple YouTube guys that kind of pushed me in and said, why don't you go ahead and get started? And I think I got over my fear. I think that was a lot of it, is just getting over the fear and being able to talk to my phone and just create videos and just share what I have. And because when we have when we collect cards and this, I think it's meant to be shared with other people. So
you got a great channel, and keep it up. And
thank you.
Like I told you earlier, I spend more time watching YouTube than I do anything else.
Regular TV, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. If there's no sports on, I'll turn hobby YouTube on all the time. So for sure. All right, Matt, is there anything you want to add before we end this evening?
No, I don't think so. Just
all right.
Thanks, and
awesome.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, until next time, guys, we will talk to you later from the card bar, and hopefully everyone has a great evening, and we'll talk to you guys later. Good night.